Yeah, so I'm gonna do like the little intro thing, then I'll sit there for 30 seconds, and then I'll bring you back in. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See. Welcome back to the Phenomenal Fan Podcast, episode number 14. Lot of action all over the world, all over the sporting universe. We got old quarterbacks returning. We got middle-aged quarterbacks changing destinations. We got superstars crashing motorcycles. And we finally settle the argument once and for all of more doors or more wheels. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Let's get into it. All right, Jared. Great to be back. Jared is back, everybody. He is alive and well after having a great weekend with some buddies. That's all the detail we'll give you guys. That's all you guys really need to know. But yeah, no, we're back for episode 14. We have a lot to cover. While Jared was away, I'm sure he expected there to be some activity, but as a reference point, let's just say Jared was with his friends for the last weekend, and he wasn't necessarily offline or off the grid, but if you were somebody that decided, hey, I'm going to go on a mountain retreat, or I'm going to go on a 4-day adventure with my buddies. I'm going to go on with my girlfriend up to the lake and put my phone away for 4 days. You'd have missed out on a lot of shit. A lot of shit. Baseball is back. I mean, Tom Brady is back. Russell Wilson is on the Broncos. Fernando Tatis Jr.'s body is made of fucking ceramic glass. There's a lot that's unfolded. But first of all, Jared, baseball's back. And I mean, that's good, right? It's good, of course. Baseball's back.
I'm fired up. I'm fired up because like we talked about, we're walking right into the meat grinder of sports not being around. And I don't really follow other sports like all that much that happen over the summer. So if there's no baseball, basketball ends, hockey ends, football hasn't started yet. That could have been a real bummer.
And all we would have been hanging on to was like the NFL season or like college football. Like we would have been just like, oh, like at least they're gonna play football, but now we have baseball and it's good. But it's not good, Jared, in a lot of ways. It's not good in the sense of the deal was officially signed, I believe it was on Thursday. Today is Monday the 14th. And it was signed, I believe, on Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And they said when this deal was signed, they're going to sign the deal. Then the league is going to vote on it. The players voted yes. So then the owners have to vote on it. They voted yes. As soon as the owners ratify it, free agency's open. Everything's going to go crazy. Carlos Correa to the Yankees. Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers. Chris Bryant to the Giants. Like, none of that's happened. Like, there's been some big names and some signing, like a couple of signings, but most of the action that's gone on has just been like trades. There's been, like I said, there's been a handful, I'm looking through just like my timeline on Twitter right now, like Joe Kelly to the White Sox, just like,
I mean, like that's actually,
right,
we were just talking about, how badass that bullpen already is.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, that's a good ad. I mean, the Matt Olson move was big time
Matt
because it
Olson move
really
is big time. Gio Urshela and Gary Sanchez to the Twins is big time, right? I mean, there's some big moves, and I don't mean
'cause
this.
that's what the Twins needed.
Yeah,
The Twins needed a low average, high home run guy because they
Yeah,
haven't been fucking riding that train for the last 5 years.
yeah. So there's just been a lot of action with baseball where it's just kind of been like, it's cool, right? It's cool. But this is something that, I mean, that we talked about while the lockout was still going on. But like, today's also the first day of NFL free agency. And I feel like there's been just as much like hype for the NFL and trades and free agency and players coming back and all this stuff. Same amount of hype for that there has been for baseball, which maybe that's normal. Maybe I'm just not remembering it like normal because it's been 2 years of kind of just weird sporting calendars and shit unfolding differently than it normally has.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is like, I feel like this is the time of year where baseball should be like dominating the schedule. Of course, you got your March Madness, and we'll touch on some March Madness as we come up here. We probably won't have enough time to go through the full fucking bracket, but maybe we'll make our final 4 picks or something like that, or our sleepers, our frauds, whatever. We'll get into that. But baseball's still been very, very underwhelming, like very underwhelming. And maybe that'll change. I feel like one of the super giant free agency dominoes maybe has to fall, and then we'll go from there. But hopefully baseball picks it up a little bit. I mean, all signs are pointing to a guy like Freddie Freeman going to the Dodgers, and that just sucks. You know, it's like Correa to the Yankees, or like I don't. It's kind of just
same shit.
Yeah,
same
exactly.
Shit,
It's just
year.
exactly
Just another big free agent going to one of the highest market teams.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you guys just need fucking 5 MVPs.
Yeah, no, seriously, no, seriously, 5. I think it's 5. Like, would they have?
Yeah, that's what you need. You need more MVPs. You want the most valuable player in the league for the last fucking decade on your team because that makes it really fun and competitive.
It's
Well, that's baseball, but the cool thing about baseball is that's not like you could have a freak team and you could still lose.
I mean,
like we talked
Dodgers
about
had it last
with
year.
the Rays. Like we talk about with the Rays. Like the Rays don't have they got fucking G-Man Choi. You know, like you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have anybody popping off the charts where you're like, I'm obsessed with like this guy's a top 5 player in the league.
No, definitely.
And those guys can win 100 games a year.
Oh, for sure.
So that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Baseball, you know. Okay, here's the other thing. You can't blame baseball or Major League Baseball. Like, it doesn't matter who signs where or what, unless it's like Mike Trout getting traded. None of the news coming out of baseball is going to trump Tom Brady returning to the NFL. Like, nothing is going to top that. There's nothing you can do. Like, so as everybody I'm sure has heard by now, Tom Brady's back. He's coming back for his 23rd season in the NFL. He will be 63 years old in week 1 of the NFL season.
We don't exaggerate things.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Let's be honest about it.
55.
He's 50. I think it's 58.
58. Okay, 58. 58. And looking to win his 8th Super Bowl. Because his 7 Super Bowls and his, I think, 3 MVPs, 15 Pro Bowls, career records in passing yards, touchdowns, completions. That's not enough for Tom Brady. He wants more.
Dude, this is one of the most fucking annoying things.
It's so annoying.
Dude, here's the thing. So it's Tom Brady. So obviously, ultimate respect for a guy like Tom Brady. Like he's the fucking GOAT. You know, like he's obviously proven he's the GOAT. But when you retired, everybody already fucking kind of agreed you had way too good of a season just to be calling it quits, and everyone was kind of shocked. And then you have, you know, these epic montages that come out the next day and these speeches. He's like, thank you, you know, like you know, right off into the sunset.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right off into the sunset shit. And then when you fucking back up on that, it's like, it doesn't matter if you're the GOAT or not. It's annoying as fuck to do.
It is. I felt the same way. Annoying. I remember when I was younger too, like every year it was like, oh, Brett Favre, like, I know they're not this, like, I'm not comparing Brett Favre and Tom Brady. Like, we know Tom Brady's the best ever. I'm just saying on the same sort of retirement, unretirement scale, like every year, Brett Favre's like, I think this is it, man. I think I'm done. And then like 3 months later, he's like, all right, run it back. Let's do another one. It's like, you can't just, I know this isn't like Tom Brady hasn't done this multiple times, but I agree. Like people that retire and then unretire, it's like, I mean, I know it, like you said, it was such a weird, we know he's old. And so on paper, you're like, dude, he's 44. He needs to retire, but he doesn't need to retire. Nobody was saying like he's playing like shit. It was different with like Ben Roethlisberger. People watched Ben Roethlisberger this year and they were like, dude, get this guy off of the NFL. Like any field he's on, get him out as soon as possible. This guy gets hit one more time hard by a blindside hit, like an unblocked linebacker blitzing, he's going to explode. Like his body will explode on the field. And with Tom Brady, it's like you see his screen, his headshot, or you see his like celebrating with his teammates. You're like, how old is this guy? Like 33, 34, maybe? Like he looks younger now in some of his headshots than he did his rookie year in New England. So I get that he shouldn't have retired. He was coming off a great year, but it's like, why even say it?
This the difference between the two, though, is like Tom Brady eats nothing but like blended avocado and cranberry puree extract with ground turkey in it and coconut oil. And fucking Ben Roethlisberger eats fucking Domino's. 2 large pies in a small mini keg of Christmas Breckenridge Christmas ale. And it's like, hey, don't be drinking Christmas ale, dude. It's February.
Yeah. He's like, well, that was left over. It's just 3 months expired too. But he's like, just found it in the fridge. You're like,
is that even cold? No, it was actually in my car.
Is it? Yeah, so it's kind of cold because it's a little bit chilly out. You're like, that's disgusting.
It's lukewarm. It's drinkable.
Yeah,
it'll drink. That's what type of guy Big Ben is. Big Ben's the type of guy that fucking picks up a wounded soldier and knocks it down, and someone goes, "Oh my god, was that already open?" He goes, "It'll drink."
Yeah, it's alcohol, right?
It'll drink.
Yeah. No, Big Ben's doing that. Tom Brady's in the hyperbolic cryo chamber in his house, like he's like levitating with his eyes closed, and you just hear like sounds like a movie, a scene from like a Alien, which is and Tom Brady's
vibrating him with crystals in the bottom of
it, and Brady's just saying his eyes are closed.
3 IVs.
Yeah.
1 in the temple and fucking 2 in the jugular.
And he's fully submerged underwater, by the way, but he's breathing somehow. He's his eyes are rolled back. No, but seriously.
He's got a lotus flower that's just sticking out, and that's how he's breathing.
Yeah.
It's over his nose.
Yep. Yeah, so obviously we kid and joke, but everybody knows that about Tom Brady. So like you said, Jared, when he retired, there was obvious, like, both sides. He retired, and I was thinking, I saw both sides. One side I said, okay, well, he's 44. He's been doing this for 23 years. He's getting older. His wife probably doesn't want him to play football anymore. He's got kids. He wants to move on with his life. Okay, totally makes sense. I get it. But of course, on the flip side, like we all said, Tom, this last season, you averaged the longest, I think whatever the statistic is about his pass attempts this year was like the average most yards per attempt in any year of his career. So he clearly still had the arm strength, the wherewithal. They obviously got to the playoffs. Not to say that the NFC South is necessarily the most competitive division, but nevertheless, he went 12-6 or whatever it was, 12-5. So it made sense, both sides, where you're like, if he comes back, I get it. If he doesn't come back, I get it. And then he says, I'm retired. Adam Schefter's like, Tom Brady's expected to announce his retirement. The Bucs say, thank you, Tom. The Patriots say, thank you, Tom. Tom says, thank you, Bucs. Thank you, Patriots. Everyone's fucking... And people were joking about the memes, right? Where they're like, OMG, Brady spent 2 months with his wife and kids and said, fuck that, I need to play football. Like, right? And it's like, it's funny, like, I get it, but that's not, I mean, that's maybe some to do with it, but mostly I think Tom Brady he goes about his business differently, but I think he's so similar to guys like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Of course, comparing them, they're all like arguably the greatest of their sport or their generation. But I think Brady is a guy is like those guys in that he is so hyper competitive. Like he wants to win no matter what, always. And I think he felt like this season ended in a situation where he gave it everything he had, but didn't necessarily play his best, especially down the stretch or in that last game against the Rams. And it just left him with that taste in his mouth where he goes down the field, he scores a game-tying touchdown to O.J. Howard or whatever the case was. Not O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, I think, whatever. And then the Rams get the ball back, and they get like Matt Stafford throws like 2 passes to Cooper Kupp, and they're just in field goal range, like a 12-yard out, and then like a 60-yard bomb. And I felt like Brady kind of saw that unfold and was thinking, like we lost, it happens, and I feel like he got kind of pressured into retirement. I feel like he didn't want to retire. They were just like, you're old, dude, you're done, you lost. It is what it is. If he would have won the Super Bowl, Jared, he'd retire. That's what he'd retired.
It would have been perfect. I feel like it's a really bad way for him. It was kind of a bad way for him to go out. You have you're such a legend, and you decide to play that next year, and then you go and you lose in the playoffs. It's like
it's also just
almost
such
feels like it can't be his legacy. Like
yes.
it feels like he has to end on another Super Bowl win.
Yes.
To really just like solidify the fact that it doesn't even need to be solidified, but it's just like the constant story of what he is. He's always just pulls it out, and he always succeeds. So for him to end on a loss, to go out of this majestic career on a loss, is just, it wasn't it in the first place. So I think there was a lot of people that were just surprised.
I agree.
And didn't it get like falsely reported, and then it was like a week later it got reported again?
Yeah, like Schefter said, he's retiring, and then like a bunch of reports like right after that came out where Brady's like, I haven't decided yet. And then it's like, and then he decided he was going to retire. It's like, he also just had so much time to like think about it. I just don't know why. Yeah. It was just weird kind of how it unfolded.
It almost feels like he should have just pulled the trigger and retired the year before or after they won the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? I almost feel bad for him now. I would hate to see that he just tries to rumble on until he's fucking 52 to try to win one more.
Yeah.
And then he finally, the age finally catches up with him, because there's only so many fucking cranberries you can eat, to keep that arms strong. So it's like the age finally catches up with him, and then you have to watch him go out on a performance decline. You would hate to see that happen to Tom Brady.
For sure.
If you're gonna win one next year, just go and win it, or it sucks because he's literally at that age right now where like every year going by is you're like, oh geez, he's playing another one. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think it would be a little bit different, or it would be people would be more hesitant for him if he didn't just come off of another just unbelievable year and he didn't look like he was 28 years old. I mean, like I said,
he had a great year, didn't he? He led the league in almost everything again.
Yeah, and so like I said, if he was like Big Ben, who was just hobbling around with the extra large shoulder pads, the flak jacket, the fucking, double gloved, like just Big Ben, like anybody could have watched any game he played this year and said, hang it up, Ben. You're done. You are so beyond done. You're hanging on by a thread. Maybe you were okay in the first 3 weeks of this season, but at the end of the day, you probably just shouldn't have come back at all. With Brady, there's never been one moment in his career where people are like, maybe he's declining a little bit. He just has not declined at all.
No.
So it just doesn't make sense that he retired in the first place. And I mean, now he's back. So I guess I kind of just want to act like it just never happened. Like, I just want to, he didn't retire. Okay.
Well, that's the issue with a guy like that retiring. It's not like if everyone's calling you the GOAT and you're going to make all these montages, everyone's going to remember you retiring. It's not like you can just fucking sneak around it.
Yeah.
like everyone was like, I'm sure Patriots fans are crying, whatever. But,
yeah, whatever. I don't care about the Patriots fans, but
yeah, fuck them.
In other news, quarterbacks, Jared.
Fires me up.
Russell Wilson is coming to the Denver Broncos. Young
Let's
Russ.
fucking go. Let's go. You know what? I like this one. I like it. I always wanted, I wanted Rodgers. Rodgers coming off back-to-back MVPs, but like,
But yeah, of course.
but at the same time, Russ is 6 years younger.
Dude, I had thought there was no chance Russell Wilson was going to go anywhere but the Seahawks. No chance. He was never complaining about it. He has had a lot of success. They're rebuilding, right? So it might have been a little bit frustrating for him to be on a team that's not competing. But Rodgers was openly just thrashing the Packers. Management, before they got Matt LaFleur, he was just thrashing their head coaches. Devontae Adams, free agent. It sounds like Devontae Adams is kind of having a little spout with them too, because they franchise tagged him, and then Devontae Adams said, I am not going to play under a franchise tag, so either give me a long-term deal or let me fuck off and go somewhere else. So with all those factors in, I was like, Devontae Adams doesn't love it in Green Bay. Rodgers doesn't love it in Green Bay. It's fucking cold. He's been there his whole career. It's just like Brady. He wants to change his scenery. Denver's a perfect spot. And then he goes back to Green Bay, and I was like, okay. I mean, I guess he's going back to Green Bay. I guess the Broncos are going to roll with Drew Lock this year, and that's that. But not so fast. I just had no idea. I really didn't expect it.
No, yeah, it was definitely a surprise. I remember. You want to know what's really funny? Was Hunter, so my roommate said, Russ is coming to Denver. I was like, oh, I love Russ. Where's he playing? Red Rocks?
Like Russ, the artist. The artist.
Because he is. He's coming. I listen to Russ all the time. So I literally thought when he said Russ is coming to Denver, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I knew that he's coming this summer at Red Rocks. Let's go see him. But like, it wasn't really on my mind that Russell Wilson was like, it's like, dude, if you said if there's a guy named Rodgers, they said Rodgers would come to Denver. Like, obviously, I'm putting together the quarterback, but like, I didn't think there was any idea. And then I got fired up because Russ got a fucking bad rap, and there's a lot of recency bias about Russell Wilson right now. Where people are like, well, he wasn't that good. I'm like, dude, the motherfucker had his finger at a right angle, and then came back like 2 weeks later, and then like was playing in cold weather, and couldn't throw the ball on target. And he has an offensive line made out of fucking paper mache.
Seriously,
and like in a defense that fucking can't
giving up 40 a game
off the field. Yeah, and people are like, well, dude, Russell Wilson ain't it? Like, people were saying what you said about Brady earlier, where like, oh, he's starting to decline. It's like, dude,
he's 33.
He's throwing a ball with a hand that had surgery on it. It probably hurts like a motherfucker every throw.
It's not like just his hand, Jared. It's a top knuckle on his middle finger. Like, do you know how bad you need that knuckle?
Gripping the football like this.
Do you need how? Do you know how bad?
That's it.
And he's obviously such a competitor and such a gangster that he was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good." And they're like, "Russ, the return time for this injury is 6 to 8 weeks. You are in week 3." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's go. I'll play." And obviously, even Russell Wilson with a fucked up finger is better than Geno Smith. So they were like, "Okay, I guess he's good." And yeah, he probably rushed himself back into it. But guess what, Jared? That's a guy you want on your team.
Dude, his stat lines, like even last year, when I looked it up to see, like, yeah, it was a pretty bad year. Russ threw for 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last year. In this year that we're saying that he's dog shit, he's lost it. He obviously missed a little bit of time with the finger and stuff. So that's why his yardage and like the yardage isn't crazy high.
Sure.
Like 3,100 still not like, it's really not that bad. But 25-6, then he went 42 the year before, 40 touchdowns and 13 picks. That's probably his best overall year as a pro. Yeah, he threw 13 picks, but he threw 40 touchdowns, which is 5 higher than his highest. And that was the most yards he ever threw for. So he's 2 years removed, or really just 1 full year removed from his best season as a pro. And we get him at 33 years old with a fucking team that has a chance to compete, because we have a really good defense. We have good weapons. I was kind of sad to see Noah Fant go, because I always wanted Noah Fant to be so good. But
I think Noah Fant has got if anybody got shafted, like besides, I don't mean to dig on the Seahawks or the fans here. Besides the Seahawks, the person that got shafted the most in this deal is Noah Fant. Because I still think he has a lot of potential. Yeah, he underperformed while he was on the Broncos, but there's a reason why he was a first-round pick. Because he's a great receiving tight end. He could block, but as is the case for most players that receive the football in the NFL, whether it's tight end or receiver or running backs in a lot of cases, like Le'Veon Bell was nothing without Ben Roethlisberger, because Ben Roethlisberger would hand the ball to him and then check it down to him, and that made him really valuable. Alvin Kamara, really valuable because he receives the ball. Christian McCaffrey receives the ball. My point is, Noah Fant would be better if he didn't have Teddy Bridgewater throwing him the football, or Drew Lock throwing him the football.
Yeah, that's another little tidbit I want to drop. It's like Russell Wilson has never had a season with as many interceptions as Drew Lock had, and has one as a Broncos starter.
Correct.
He had 3 less in a full 16 game season at that point. It was 16 games, but he threw in 13 games started. Drew Lock threw 15 interceptions or 16 interceptions or whatever it was. I think I look it up. I don't know. Look it up
in 2020.
Anyway, in his first year, he threw 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. So it's basically 1-to-1, almost a 1-to-1 ratio. Russell Wilson, most he's ever thrown in a season was the year that he threw for 40.
And he had 11.
He's been he had 13.
13.
He threw for 40, so that's almost 4-to-1.
Yeah.
And then look at it. Other times he's only gone over 10 interceptions 3 other times in his career. Everything else is sub 10. That's a ridiculous performance. So
I would live with 20. And not that he does. I'm just saying, let's say he comes over, or Drew Lock, or anybody. Like, I'm the type of guy. I'll live with the quarterback who throws 20, 25 interceptions. Like, that's a fuckload of interceptions. But if you throw 45 or 50 touchdowns or 40 touchdowns,
you're slinging the rock.
Yeah, it's just, you're a slinger, right? Of course, you want to avoid interceptions. But dude, I'll take a 40-15 season in Denver any day of the week. And also, it's not going to be 40-15. It's going to be better than that. It's going to be less interceptions. Maybe he won't throw for 40. But dude, okay, so here's
he could.
That's what I was going to say. So here's another thing. People are talking about Russ and his decline. Okay, yes, you're right. The offensive line was bad. But what I will say, he had DK Metcalf. He had Tyler Lockett. He had a lot of guys that were good weapons, right? Really good weapons in Seattle. Those 2 guys by themselves, DK and Tyler Lockett, maybe arguably the best 1-2 receiving combo in the NFL, right? Top 5 for sure. But he's coming to a spot where he's got Tim Patrick, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, Albert Oguebanam, I believe is how you pronounce it fully, star receiving tight end. And he also, Jared, hasn't had a running back. Like, Rashad Penny was good in Seattle, right? Good running back, solid kid.
Chris Carson.
Chris Carson played 4 games a year for the last 4 years.
Yeah, he's always hurt.
I think he hasn't had this, like, plethora of young weapons almost at any point in his career. Javonte Williams as a running back for the Broncos is going to be a superstar this year.
Yeah.
Complimentary because of Russell Wilson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're gonna see him. He'll be like I think what you're gonna see is, the years that guys do this, where they go, okay, they were a rookie, they started getting their touches. Now this year he'll be a top 20 fantasy pick probably, and then next year he'll be like one of those guys
like Kamara.
Where you're talking about like, well, where are you gonna take him? Oh, I got the 4th pick. I might take that Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
I think that's where his trajectory is going.
100%.
Because he's fucking unreal to watch.
Dude, he had the most yards after contact of any running back in the NFL, and he was splitting carries with Melvin Gordon. Like, that is insane. The guy he's a bowling... Dude, Javonte Williams' center of gravity is in his ankles. There's no other way to fucking describe how he stays upright. Dude, he's had runs where he has carried people. So my point is, if you just want to do a strictly a quarterback comparison, Russell Wilson with a running back who was a bowling ball. Who's the last guy he had that was a true bowling ball? Marshawn Lynch. How did he do with Marshawn Lynch? 2 Super Bowls and 3 Super Bowl appearances. Should have handed it. And hey, thank God now that Russell Wilson is in this situation, because if we're Broncos fans. Let's just, for the sake of the podcast, if the Broncos get to the Super Bowl and they have first and goal from the 4-yard line in a situation where a touchdown wins the game, it's not going to be a spot where, because the rumors were about Russell Wilson in Seattle, is him and Pete Carroll were kind of back behind the scenes, maybe having a few disagreements, nothing like nothing demonstrative, nothing like on the sideline blowing up, just disagreements about strategy and play calling. And in that situation, I'm sure Russ is like, I'll throw the ball, but Pete Carroll's probably like, yeah, let's run a slant. Let's do this. And he throw a pick. Now in Denver, he's with a young coach, Nathaniel Hackett, a young team, and they call a play like that. Russ is going to go, no, we're not doing that. I'm a 33-year-old, 2-time Super Bowl champion veteran. These guys don't know any better. This is a first-year, second-year head coach. Whenever, if they get to the Super Bowl, we're going to run the ball. And I think that we've all talked about it, but that's the piece the Broncos needed, was that veteran quarterback leadership, and they got it.
Yeah, no, I love this. It feels like it's awesome, because it was like we talked about, like we got Peyton, we had this great 5 years of Peyton, then 7 years of just absolute dog shit, 4,000 starting quarterbacks. None of them really performed ever. You know, they might have had like the fact that I can reference Trevor Siemian as like having some of the best games of the last 7 years as a Broncos starting quarterback is horrible. It's disgusting. Not to say that I don't mean to shit on him, dude. They're professional athletes. They're premier athletes, and I don't like when I absolutely shit on one of them about their performance, because like, dude, they succeeded. They made it up to this level, and they were able to have some sort of success.
Right.
But it's like, as a fan, when you're talking about Russell Wilson, you know, a Peyton Manning or a Russell Wilson, these are like, you know, these are 10-year gap, like main quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 20-year gap. You know, because quarterbacks obviously that end up being stars last forever. So it's like we're getting this guy. I think he was a rookie in 2012. 10 years deep into his career, he's probably going to be. He doesn't run the ball nearly as much as he used to. He's probably going to be,
but he can
a 16 to 17-year pro, though. You know, anywhere from 15 to 18, he's that type of quarterback. He still had the success. He's only 33. Say he retires at 40. That means the Broncos always have a decade of good football ahead of us.
Yeah, it's great. No, and he's going to love Denver. I mean, it's crazy to me how an entire team, whether like the fan base and the players and can just be completely rejuvenated with the acquisition of one player. One player.
Yeah. Yep.
One guy. I know quarterback is the most impactful position in all sports, individual position, as far as team sports go. Because you could add one guy in the NBA, and that could be a huge addition, but that's not going to. One player in an NBA team is not, but a quarterback, adding one guy like that just completely changes the outlook for the Broncos. We're talking about like how many Super Bowls could Russell Wilson win now? 2, 3?
Yeah.
That's optimistic. Yeah, optimistic thinking.
Yeah. It doesn't help that we're in such a fucking tough division. That's one thing that doesn't help. That's pretty wild to think that Derek Carr is like
the worst quarterback in the division.
By far the worst quarterback in he's not a bad quarterback.
He's a great quarterback.
But he's by far the worst in the AFC West.
The AFC West is
a really good division now.
It is.
That made the division. It made the division really, really good. Mahomes,
fucked.
Dude, you have Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Derek Carr as the starting quarterbacks. Like, name a division that doesn't have really one like glaring like weak spot at quarterback. I guarantee you could find one in every division you go to in the NFL.
And also, listen, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's just go based off of last season. Okay. Find me another place or another division, like you said, where Russell Wilson gets traded to a team and becomes arguably the third best quarterback in that division. Like, I think he's better than Herbert, but like is
Herbert had a freak year, and Russ obviously has like the the longevity in the career with like the actual accolades that he's kind of racked up. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He won 2. He's got 2, right?
Yes. Beat
Yeah.
the shit out of
So
the
with the lead,
Broncos, and then
they murdered the Broncos.
they won another one. He was young. He was like really young. He definitely has 2. No, he definitely has 2.
Who did they beat the other time?
It was like the Steelers or something. Russell Wilson, Super Bowls.
Back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. No, I think he won one loss. I think he has one. I think he's 1-1. I think he lost. It was the year that he should have 2. So, and that's probably why it feels like that, because they threw the pick.
Oh, you're right.
That guy a bunch of money.
Yeah, you're right. I guess he's got 1. Yeah, okay.
But he's been to 2.
I think he's
been to 2.
Yeah.
He's been to 2. He lost to the Patriots, but they shouldn't have lost that game.
Correct.
But anyway, whatever. NFL's rigged, and they wanted Tom Brady to win.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yep.
Let's not talk about it. Let's not even get into it.
I mean, we've already established that.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, you're right. So like Russell Wilson is probably is the 3rd best quarterback in
right now, and that could change after this season, right?
You could have Herbert jump up to the top, and Mahomes have digression. You could have Mahomes go back to shoot.
He's going to lose Tyreek or Travis Kelce. He's going to lose one of those guys, probably more so Tyreek than Kelce. He might not be as effective. Chiefs can't play defense. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just saying, dude, you can't find a division that's going to be as good. You could realistically you could have 4 teams. You could have a team like the Raiders, who went 9-8. Yeah, they had a lot of adversity. They had a lot of different things not go their way, but they could go from a team that went 9-8 and made the playoffs to, due to no fault of their own, instead of beating the Broncos twice, beating the Chargers once. I think they might have beat the Chiefs once too. Like, they could go 0-6 in the AFC West. They should go 0-6. And that would put the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders could go 6-11 this year. Really. And they're not that bad of a team. They might be one of the biggest drops just because Russell Wilson came to the Broncos. I mean, it's just crazy. And it just rejuvenates the whole Broncos defense. It puts a lot more pressure on the rest of the league.
Go look at like, just if you pull up the divisions, you can just start going right through them. Oh, I didn't even realize that it's now the Washington Commanders. They got sick of the football team.
Yeah, they're the Commanders. Yeah, and they got Carson Wentz, by the way. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. So you have Carson Wentz. You got Jalen. Like, I'm looking at NFC. It's Jalen Hurts,
Daniel Jones. Yeah.
Obviously, we love Dak. We think Dak is really good. You got Stafford, Kyler, Jimmy G, Trey Lance now, right? He's supposed to start.
And then the Seahawks.
Seahawks now have Drew Lock.
Or Geno Smith. Yeah.
Or Geno Smith. You got the Packers, where you got Rodgers and Cousins. You got the Bears with
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields or fucking Andy Dalton. Who knows? Lions with Jared Goff. Bucks got Tom back. Saints. Who's supposed to start for them this year?
I don't know. Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston.
Jameis. Yeah. Falcons. Is Matt Ryan still there? Panthers. Sam Darnold.
There's just huge quarterback drop-offs in all those divisions.
You have Bengals, Steelers. Steelers have Mitch Trubisky now. That was the signing. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, and then Lamar, who people still are really high on Lamar, and obviously Lamar's an explosive football player, but that was not an impressive season he had last year. But you're talking about a former MVP. It's hard to fucking start to rag on the guy too hard, and I love Lamar too.
Yeah.
So, the Titans, you got Tannehill,
garbage.
Colts. Who's starting for the Colts now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Drafted guy? Yeah,
maybe.
So who knows? Texans.
It's not Deshaun Watson.
It was whoever that holdover was last year.
Davis Mills.
Mills. He played decent, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
We're talking Derek Carr, Davis Mills as worst.
Yeah.
And then you have Jags with Trevor Lawrence, where it's like, I'm gonna give Trevor Lawrence another year before I start talking shit about him.
Yeah. No, it's an unbelievable division. I mean, it's just like ridiculous. The level of play, the level of play in that division is just fucking crazy. But it's exciting. It's exciting to see Russell Wilson It's exciting to see the competitiveness back in the AFC West, because previously it was just like Chiefs, 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 Chiefs. Then it was like maybe Chiefs, Chargers, but mostly still Chiefs. Now it's fucking anybody's game. And the intimidation factor from the Broncos alone might be enough for the Chiefs maybe to drop off. And like we just mentioned, I talked about Mahomes. He's going to lose Kelsey or Tyreek Hill. Probably Hill. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we mentioned baseball. We talked about baseball. And we've established before that I personally am a Padres fan. And baseball's underway. There's been some big trades like we talked about. Matt Olson got traded to the Atlanta Braves from the Oakland A's. That opens up Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers, possibly. And you're thinking as a Padres fan, you're thinking in baseball in general, maybe Freeman goes to the Yankees, or it's Carlos Correa going to go. Where's all these guys going to end up? And you find out today, wake up to some news, that Fernando Tatis Jr. has a broken wrist. What the fuck? I mean,
Dude,
like, and again, it wasn't, you know, I saw a tweet today, Jared, and people that follow baseball or know baseball, a Padres fan tweeted this out, and it was just two pictures, picture of Tatis and a picture of another player. And it said, same energy. That's what it said. Same energy. And it was Fernando Tatis Jr. And the next picture was Troy Tulowitzki. And I thought, what a great comparison. I mean, overall, if you take both guys at the beginning of their careers or whatever, like, I'll take Tatis over Tulowitzki. But now, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's more frustrating because Tatis has got, so he got hurt. He hurt his shoulder last year, his left shoulder, playing baseball. He was diving, hyperextended it or whatever, subluxation of his shoulder, which means you dislocated it, and then it's more likely to come out, and it did throughout the year. But another blow to the game of baseball, right? Last year it was Ronald Acuna tearing his ACL. That's a huge blow to the game of baseball because he's so exciting, so dynamic, so explosive. Same with Tatis. Dynamic, explosive, high energy guy, huge producer, broke his wrist. The word on Tatis is that he's going to be out 3 months. And, you know, the guy is, the way I've described him to people that don't know him that well, or my friends or anything, with his shoulder and stuff, he would come back from shoulder injuries last year, and he would just like come back from the DL or the IL, and he would just hit 2 home runs. And you're like, this guy is the way I described him to people, Jared, I called him a lizard. That's what I call him, because he's like a reptile. He's slippery, quick moving, twitchy, and then just explosive. And it doesn't matter. You could cut off a lizard's tail and the thing will just fucking scamper away. Like, so hard to grab onto. And he's a freak. He heals double the speed, apparently, of everybody else. So, fuck. I mean, who knows? He'll get surgery and maybe he's just hitting 400-foot bombs in batting practice in 2 weeks. Like, you don't know. The guy's a fucking freak. But the bottom line is, Fernando Tatis right now, at age 23, with a $340 million extension, is injury prone. He is injury prone. He is an injury prone shortstop, and it's not good because they threw him in the outfield last year, and people were like, "What? You can't do that. He's explosive. He's a shortstop. He's a great athlete." He might have to play center field for the rest of his career, or right field, because the guy is made of fucking glass, and it's a damn shame. It's a shame for the whole sport, not just for the Padres, for the whole sport. And it sucks.
Yeah, Tulowitzki's it is kind of similar, but you have, I mean, damn, like, actually, if you really look at it, very, very similar numbers, like, in terms of like when they first came up. Like, it looks like Tatis' first year with the Padres, he hit 317 with 22 jacks, 53 RBIs.
go back over and you look at Tulo, he's probably a little bit older when he came up. He's 37 now. He came up in 2006, so he was what? Well, I guess that's 16 years ago. I guess it was probably a really similar age.
Yeah,
About 21.
and the other thing with Tatis too, I mean, you guys, we all know it, and I say he's injury prone. So his rookie year, he gets called up, excited for him, takes a big swing in like August, and like herniated disc or like breaks a vertebrae in his back, out for the year. Okay, 100 games, young guy. Padres aren't quite in that winning window. It is what it is. 2020, first season he played a full year, but it's not a full year, Jared. It's 2 months. He played 60 games. Okay, that doesn't do anything for me. And the COVID year just didn't count anyways. It's bullshit. 2021 comes around last year, fucking shoulders fucked. Okay, comes back, makes his debut. You know, he plays 4 games of the first part of the season, shoulders fucked. Okay, he's done. Comes back 2 weeks later, hits a bunch of home runs. Like, yes, he's explosive when he's on the field, but now his left shoulder's fucked. He hasn't got surgery, which was not recommended, but it's a possible solution to the shoulder subluxation that he suffered. Surgical repair to hopefully limit the injury, if not make it better. It's kind of one of those 50-50 surgeries where it's like, it could help, it could not do anything, but it's not going to hurt. Doesn't get surgery. Okay, fine. He's coming back this year. That's in the back of everybody's mind. Everybody's thinking, you know, he's got the shoulder. It is what it is. But Jared, he hurt his wrist in December. He didn't hurt his wrist playing baseball. He crashed a dirt bike in the Dominican Republic. And like I said before, he's a lizard, so he probably broke his wrist. But he's a freak, and he got up from the injury and was like, oh man, my wrist hurts, and my elbow's scraped, and my fucking knee's busted, but I'm fine because I'm a lizard, and my scabs are already healing themselves as I'm getting up from the... Like, he's a freak. He didn't know his shit was fucking broken. And he probably started working out again. He re-aggravated it, took some time off, worked out again, probably felt good enough to take swings, but then he shows up to camp and it's time to start putting in work. And he showed up yesterday, a video of him walking into the Padres facility, and he looked fine. He looked in good spirits. And then today the news breaks that he breaks his wrist. This isn't about, because we're not just a baseball show with Phenomenal Fan. We'll get into that with our other show, but if you sign a contract like he did and you are crashing dirt bikes, or like Madison Bumgarner, another example, guy's riding 4-wheelers in the desert and fucking flips it and dislocates his shoulder, or like Aaron Boone, it was another one where it's kind of a freak accident, but like he was playing basketball and like tore his ACL when he was lined up to be the starting third baseman for the New York Yankees in 2004. And then it ends up leading to A-Rod getting traded and blah, blah, blah. I know that freak stuff happens, right? Boone, maybe not so much, but like guys doing dumb shit off the field will always just blow my fucking brains out of my head, because it's like, dude, just risk reward assessment. It's so easy when you fucking punch the throttle, or you fire up that motorcycle, or you fire up that 4-wheeler. If you're Mad Bum, what is the best possible scenario in all this? The best possible scenario: you rip that thing across the desert, or you're riding that fucking dirt bike through the Dominican streets at 60 miles an hour. Best case scenario, nothing happens and you're fine. You make it out and you go play. Okay, that's great. That's the same outcome you'd have if you just didn't get on the fucking motorcycle. You wouldn't get hurt. The risk of not getting on a motorcycle is there is no risk. You're not going to get hurt. Whereas the risk of getting on and hitting a fucking pothole or a patch of dirt or a puddle and spinning out, dude, could literally end your career. End your career in that moment. And yes, you can say the same thing about getting behind the wheel of a car or going down a flight of stairs, or in Aaron Boone's case, playing basketball, right? Yes, freak stuff happens all the time. It happens while they're playing baseball. Guys slide headfirst into a base break their fucking wrist or break their fingers. Shit happens. I get it. But when it's a non-baseball injury, and it's like, man, it's also the same thing. Like, it's a hard comparison to make, but it's similar to like Jose Fernandez. Like, rest in peace, man. Guy would have had an unbelievable career. But take a step back and think about what could happen versus just sitting at home, just like turn on Netflix, dude, or just like go dancing at the club, or like, I mean, just for fuck's sake, man, it's so infuriating when it is all these situations, especially in the most extreme cases like Jose Fernandez, rest in peace. But it's so infuriating and it's such a bigger hit on like your heart or your mojo or your confidence when it's so avoidable. It is so easily avoidable. Like when they slide into the bases, you're like, you know what, man? He's going hard. He's making a play. It happens. Yeah, he could have, I don't know, worn a wrist, an oven mitt, right? And not broken his fingers. Like, but that shit just happens. But when it's so avoidable, it is a million times more frustrating. And that's why I'm sitting here fucking venting about it. But at the end of the day, everybody feels the same way. And all the reaction on Twitter from everybody, non-Padres fans and everyone's like, dude, damn it, man. Fuck.
When you have the, because especially when like,
and when they're young too. Fernandez, so young. Of course it's not the same. I'm not saying it's the same. But when you're young and you have so much potential and you're not just in your prime, you're like at the absolute peak of your physical performance at 23 years old. Dude, like, what are you doing, man? It's so bad. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, because like you said, it could have been worse too. And it's like what are you giving? Like, what do you do? You have beyond generational wealth that you just created, right? Like, you're making $300 million. You owe it to the organization to not be fucking around when they're investing that much money in you, and then you owe it to the fans too. But I mean, that's more for for Fernando. For a guy like Fernandez,
Jose Fernandez,
Jose Fernandez. Sorry, I drew a blank because I said Fernando. But like for a guy like Jose Fernandez, what sucks about him is he never even got that big contract yet, I don't think. So he was so close to setting himself up to live this beautiful life, and then goes and fucks around. And you like obviously it's really tough to try to tell one of those guys not to go live their lives. But like you said, when you look at the cost reward, it's like, you got to transport and cruise around and have a little bit of fun for 15, 20 minutes as you try to go to a destination. But like, you also may have, fucked yourself and fucked your franchise for a little bit. I don't know. And it's definitely very, very frustrating to watch these avoidable things cost guys like precious years of their career. It's like, it almost feels like they fucking think that like everything's just going to be given. Granted, this guy's decided a contract so big, it makes me want to throw up, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe it's tough for them to realize when they're in the moment, how like lucky they are to be where they are at. And I guess you'll never really know unless you're inside one of their heads. So
yeah,
I agree with you. It's very frustrating.
I mean, and you have, okay, here's another great example. Henry Ruggs. Right? Horrible incident. But to me, it's not the same as far as reference points, of course, in many different ways. Of course, Henry Ruggs, in a horrible accident, ends up taking somebody's life. Jose Fernandez, his own life. Accidental. These are all accidents, right? But Henry Ruggs was a guy, he had the unlimited resources, and that's why it's always so frustrating, because you hear about in the NFL, right? If you're Henry Ruggs, you're drinking, hanging out at Topgolf, the NFL has a chauffeur service. He obviously has millions of dollars. So call an Uber, leave your car there. If your car gets towed or like, it's all gonna be okay. But for Fernando Tatis Jr., he has a father who played 10 plus years in the major leagues and knows what it takes to stay at that level and to compete and stay healthy and be a productive contributing member. And so it's more frustrating because how is somebody not telling him, like, man, hey son, from Fernando Tatis Sr., hey son, What are you doing today? I was going to go rip some dirt bikes with my buddies through the fucking streets of the Dominican. I was going to go ride the. Well, that's probably not a good idea. Didn't you just sign a $340 million contract for a 14-year commitment? Oh, maybe you're right, Dad. Maybe I'll just go down to the docks and jump off into the water. Right? Again, risk assessment. Am I going to hurt myself jumping off into the water? Probably not. Am I going to, like, just think. Just fucking think, man. Use your brain. I'm sorry, but it's just, like, not that hard. And I know these kids, like I said, these other guys just maybe didn't know any better. Henry Ruggs, like, new money, young guy, fast car. What's the worst thing that happens? Nothing. I'm rich. I'm young. I'm invincible. And that's, I guess, what Tatis is thinking too. I'm young. I'm invincible. I can do whatever I want. I'm never going to get hurt. Yes, you are. Your shoulder's already fucked, dude. And maybe baseball is not at the top of his list. Maybe where he gets, because clearly the guy doesn't get that much of an adrenaline high hitting balls 400 feet because it's just regular. It's just easy for him to do that. And he hits balls to the moon, walks out of the batter's box, flips his bat, and he's just cool guy. Like, maybe that's just not it for him. Maybe he needs to cliff jump and fucking ride motorcycles and, like, skydive. I don't know, but, like, work it into your contract. Do something where it's like, okay, you know what? You're a thrill seeker. That's fine. Here's what you are allowed to do. You're allowed to go skydiving with the Padres medical staff. We will pay for it. We will do everything it takes. We will have 8 dudes there that will be willing to give up their parachute for you so that you get onto the ground safely and these guys die. Like, not, obviously it's an extreme. Obviously we exaggerate when we say shit like that, but man, it's just so frustrating. And it's more of a grand scheme thing. Like, it's just young guys pissing their fucking careers away or just not being able to take a step back and think about the consequences of their actions. It's always hindsight 2020. It's always hindsight 2020. But man, oh man, is it fucking frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And it happens all the time, man. It happens with, you know, you had a guy like Matt Bush is another good example where he was a top pick from the Padres back in the early 2000s, ends up getting a deadly hit and run DUI. It's like, dude, what, man? Like, just think a little bit, man. And that's why you got to surround yourself with great people. And that's why it's so surprising for Tatis, because his dad is his role model and his figure he looks up to, who's had the success and done everything. And man, it's just frustrating. But
yeah,
anyways, it is what it is, man. Younger guys need to just be fucking smarter. And hopefully we can just start to avoid shit like this, because it's just sad, especially when it gets to the more extreme cases like we've referenced so many times. Just frustrating. But anyways, that is what it is. The Padres aren't out of it. A lot of teams are still working. There's a bunch of trades going on. Guys are going to sign. We'll get into that in the baseball show. But the last 2 things we want to touch on, Jared. March Madness is going to be firing up here on Thursday. Today's Monday. Everyone's filling out their brackets. People are getting fired up about it. It's fun. It's exciting, right? You love getting into your picks, right? My bracket's the best. Yours is the best, whatever. If you had to take 4 teams looking through the bracket in your final 4, who you got, Jared?
Ooh. You know, that's a good question. But I think Gonzaga is going to kind of make one of their runs that they normally do. You know, they're always really tough to play. And it kind of looks like on their side of the bracket, like I like USC from that side, but I feel like kind of from that side of the West, I feel like USC or Gonzaga is potentially going to make it. But I'll probably say Gonzaga is going to make it to the Final Four.
Yep.
I really liked the way that UCLA played last year. That could be that bracket, obviously, or that side could be there could be some upsets in there. You have some of these sneakier teams like an LSU, if they play really well, that could potentially, make a surprise run, or a Florida State even. But from that side, I think UCLA is my favorite. And you got on the Midwest side, I kind of like a team like I remember Loyola Chicago making such a good run last
Yeah.
year, but I just don't, I think I want to say like a team like Syracuse has a chance to make a splash over there. Or like a Georgia Tech could be a surprise from the Midwest. And then obviously like it's tough to go against Baylor for the South. But there's some good teams on that side of the bracket too. You have that Arkansas teams that's good. That Texas Tech team's really good. Who else is over there? Purdue, obviously, yeah, but like I don't think Purdue wins that. I'm gonna go my final four. I'm gonna go Baylor from the South. I'm gonna do like a little bit of an upset surprise with like maybe Georgia Tech on the Midwest.
Did Georgia Tech? Are you looking at the right one? Is Georgia Tech even in the bracket this year?
I think so.
I don't think.
Unless I have the other bracket up that
I think you have. I think you have last year's bracket because I don't think Georgia Tech is in it this year.
I kind of swore Georgia Tech was in it.
No, Georgia Tech.
I might be thinking of someone else. I'm just going off of like the limited amount of basketball that I've watched this year.
Yeah, I've been on.
And I don't follow college like crazy, but I do. Okay, so I definitely like UCLA.
Yeah, good pick.
I like Baylor. I like Gonzaga.
Yep.
And I guess I depending on who's on that side, I was just trying to. I couldn't take four that seemed too chalky.
Seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. So I gotta get the right one up, I guess. I was looking at the list over here on the right.
I like Gonzaga. They're so dominant. They're just so dominant. And Baylor's the same way. Just so dominant. I think Arizona this year as a 1 seed.
Oh, I do like Arizona as well.
Arizona as a 1 seed is going to go deep. My non-1 seed, not necessarily a sleeper per se, but team that I could see winning it all as not a 1 seed is Tennessee. Tennessee is coming off winning the SEC. They won the SEC tournament. If anybody's coming out of the SEC, it's going to be Tennessee because they have a few other teams. They have Auburn. Auburn's a 2 seed, but I see a team like Tennessee winning the national championship. My Final Four, if you have a Final Four and you're including 2 or 3 of these teams, Gonzaga, Baylor, Tennessee, Arizona, Villanova's a great pick. Kentucky, great pick. Kentucky's a 2 seed. I think there's a lot of sneaky 2s and 3s this year that could make serious waves. Tennessee is a 3 seed. Villanova's a 2 seed. Kentucky's a 2 seed. Auburn's a 2 seed.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now, yeah, I see. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm waiting for you to make a pick.
No, my
oh, it's going through the computer.
Disconnect.
I also like Iowa because they just won the Big Ten.
Yeah. Don't hit that at all. Let's see.
You're back through your headphones, by the way, for the microphone. It's all good though. I just like Tennessee a lot. I don't know why. And it's weird that Tennessee every single year is so good at basketball too, because just doesn't really peg me as a team that would like be good at basketball, but they are. And I don't know. It's like schools that don't have like huge football. I'm always like, okay, their basketball is going to be really good. Gonzaga, Baylor's football is okay. But like Arizona has no football. They have, these teams have football. I'm just saying, in the sense of their football team's not competitive. It's like, well, their basketball team's going to be fucking good. The other sneaky team this year, Jared, just keep an eye out for them. Another sneaky team, Murray State, dude. Murray State went 30-3 this year. 30-2, and they went 18-0 in their conference play. Like that's fucking crazy. And they're a 7 seed. They could easily, they're gonna win their first round game against let's see. They're playing University of San Francisco or San Francisco State or whatever. They're going to beat them. Then they play Kentucky in the second round. Like, they could beat Kentucky. They play Purdue in the next round, possibly. They could beat Purdue. I like Murray State as a higher seed to make a good run.
Yeah, okay. You know, that's kind of funny. I was thinking of Virginia Tech. I think I was literally watching Virginia Tech like a couple weeks ago, and I thought the team was really good. They were down 10 and had like a massive comeback.
Yeah, they
But
beat
now
Duke, dude. They beat Duke in the ACC championship.
now I'm looking over. I'm kind of looking at the East. I don't know why I was saying. I was kind of, what I said, Georgia Tech. Yeah, I must have been looking at last year's bracket or whatever. But okay, so in the East, I think I'm gonna have to go. I'm going to UCLA in the East. But there's get Baylor over there too. That's fun. That's what makes it so fun. I'm going UCLA though.
Yeah, no, fuck it. I mean, it's a good pick.
Going to UCLA. Gonzaga in the West. I fucking feel really weird about Arizona right now because as sick as they are, CU just thrashed them by 20 points a couple weeks ago, and that threw me off. But at the same time, like, just kind of must have been just kind of a freak game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see either Houston or Arizona in the South. Just kind of off the top of my head, though, I have to think that Arizona is going to make it to the final there. But if it's not them, my pick would be Houston. And then for that Midwest side of the bracket, I like USC to win that side. I think USC is a really good team. Like every time I've watched them, they've dominated.
It's a good pick.
If it wasn't them, it'd be Kansas. But yeah, I would take that as my final four. And I can't see what type of or what seeds they are, but USC, Arizona, Gonzaga, and
Baylor. I mean,
it's between Baylor and Kentucky for me.
Yeah,
but
there's just a lot. There's a lot of good teams this year, man. A lot of good teams.
Kentucky's just like, I'm taking Kentucky. Taking Kentucky to win the East.
Good call. I like it. Yeah, I mean, my final four, like I said, it's not in any because I have a few brackets, but Gonzaga's got to be in your final four, man. They just have to be.
Yeah.
I like Tennessee anywhere in your final four. I like Baylor anywhere in your final four. And again, these are easy picks because they're all one seeds. The teams that I would say watch out for as a trap, people are like, oh, it's fucking Duke. Like, Duke's going to go all the way. Duke is a fraud. They are an absolute fucking fraudulent basketball team. They lose the last home game of Coach K's career to UNC. They lose the ACC tournament championship game to Virginia Tech, and they get like blown out in both games. Duke is going to win their first game as a 2 seed, of course, because they're playing Cal State Fullerton. They're going to beat them. But in the next round, they're going to play either Michigan State or Davidson. They could lose that game very easily. And then the next round, let's say they get by them, they're going to play probably either Bama or Texas Tech. They will absolutely lose that game. I don't have Duke going past the Sweet 16 at all. So watch out for Duke. I think Duke is a super duper fraud team. I think another trap team is Purdue, because Purdue plays great defense. They're like classic, just like don't score, shit ton of defense. We're ranked high early in the season, got up to 1 at a couple points in the year. But Purdue's a 3 seed. They could not get past the Sweet 16 either as a 3 seed. Very, very easily. Very easily. Another team with like low value or whatever, like number 11 seed, Michigan, with Juwan Howard back as their coach. Like he was in there for the conference tournament, but Michigan could make a huge run.
I think I kind of like as like a sleeper is LSU.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great pick. 6 seed.
I do. Yeah, I like LSU. I've watched them a couple times, and I watched them play Kentucky and like almost pull off a big time comeback this year. I do like them as a sleeper. Obviously, you have teams in here that like they're gonna obviously it's March Madness. So there's gonna be some upsets, but yeah. I mean, what is UCLA a 4 seed?
Yes.
Yeah, that UCLA, like, it kind of looks like that's basically like, I think that the Elite Eight game, if it's not Baylor, UCLA, or like, I think if that game's not Baylor UCLA, like, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I really like what's his name, Juzang for UCLA.
Yeah, Johnny Juzang, I think. Yeah,
Johnny Juzang. Like that guy last year made me believe.
Cold-blooded. Yeah, he's good.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, it's tough. It's tough. I think the hardest thing to evaluate when you're like looking at college basketball is like, what does this team beating this team mean to this team playing that team?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, what, like, is Colorado? Is Colorado? Who are they playing on the? Did they make it?
CSU made it. Yeah.
The CSU, but not
No,
CU Boulder didn't.
CU did not.
Yeah, because that's Pac-12. But like, isn't that funny to think that Arizona has the number 1 seed? Like 3 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, just got their ass beat by 20 by a team that didn't even make it. So like that's what's tough. It's like what does what is a win? Like how are wins weighted? Because a lot of times I feel like they obviously don't play enough games for the amount of college basketball teams that there are out there, right? So, and then that's what makes it so damn fun to watch.
Yeah, it's exciting. So, I'm excited for it. Thursday, we may come out with a pod just at some point. There's going to be a shit ton of games like going on if we record that day, but it'll be fun. Be fun to see. And then just wrapping up this episode, Jared, we want to thank everybody, of course, for tuning in. But just so we're clear, because this has been an argument going around the internet the last couple weeks, just so everybody's clear, on the question of whether there are more wheels in the world or more doors, the answer is doors. By a billion. Because I've heard the argument, right? You go into a giant skyscraper office building. There's tons of doors. There's doors in this place and this door and this, all this place. Okay. I've heard that argument, right? Doors. And then the counter argument for the stupid wheels people, it's like, well, for all the doors in that building, there's 500 people working. They all drove a car to work, and the parking garage right next to the building has fucking 500 cars parked in it. And do people not understand that a car with 4 wheels has 4 doors? So all those wheels they're talking about are automatically negated, wiped out by all the doors on the car. And then you just add all the doors on top of it.
Actually, yeah, I mean, you really could argue that there's 5. There's 5 doors and 5 wheels. You got the trunk and you got a spare tire, most likely.
And then where do you pull the car into, Jared? A garage. What does a garage have? The garage door, right? The retractable electronic garage door, and then the door that's attached to the house. So that's 2 doors where you park your car, plus 4 doors on the car.
Each door has each room in the house has a closet door and a bedroom door
and a bathroom door and a cupboard. That's a door to open it. It's a cupboard door, refrigerator door, pantry door, oven door, microwave door. Like, are you out of your mind if you think it's wheels? It's like not even close. It's not even close.
There's got to be some sort of talk about what we can constitute as a door.
I think anything that allows passageway, you pass any body part through it to either store something or it secures it's storage, essentially. It could account, because a closet is essentially just storage for your clothes. That's all it is. But there's a door for your closet. There's this door for the cupboard that keeps your cups, because that's where you're storing them.
I think it definitely feels like there's going to be more doors, but then there's different arguments I could think of where you have a house that has 5 cars, 3 cars there, And then, but like you said, obviously, like you have to cancel them out. But then it's like you got 6 bikes in the garage of the family, and little Timmy's got 3 skateboards. I can see where people could get like start to like try to make the argument, but I just like
People
you
that
really
are,
break it down.
people that argue wheels are just people that are trying to argue for the sake of argument. Because fucking doors is such like. Listen, I'm sitting in an office chair right now that has 6 wheels on it. Okay, right? 6 wheels. You go through my apartment. You got bedroom door, bathroom door, closet door, another closet door, sliding glass door, front door, pantry door, laundry room door, microwave door, oven door, fucking 12 cupboard doors. Like, it's just doors by a billion. By a billion. And I don't think it's close. But, you know, people disagree. And they're wrong, but they disagree, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's that's the best part is like we can obviously make the assumption that it is doors, but no one will ever really fucking know.
Yeah. No. Because why would they?
Nobody will ever really be able to count.
Nope. Nope, they won't.
But okay, so here's one for you too. Is like think about like a big ass apartment building. Like think about how many doors are in a big apartment building.
Yeah,
All the different
shit ton.
all the different little
Oh,
entryways,
dude.
and then every apartment has the set standard for every so if someone was to make the argument about the cars, obviously you automatically negate all the wheels off from every car, and yeah, it's doors by
by a billion.
doors by a trillion.
Yeah,
by a trillion.
by a trillion. But anyways,
but I want to hear a response. I want to hear somebody's rebuttal.
I'd love to.
I
I'd love to hear it.
I want to hear what they think.
Yeah.
Like what are you going to argue that fucking tech decks have wheels? There's a
Yeah,
bajillion
like just
tech
shut
decks.
up. Yeah, it's just so stupid. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where else you could even find wheels. So.
Yeah. Anyways.
All
yeah,
right.
That'll wrap it up for the Phenomenal Fan Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on another episode. It's been fun, Jared. We'll break it down next time. Thank you guys for listening. And doors. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.